Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about why saving money didn't help me build a large net worth and to build wealth. So I'll start this with an asterisk. So the asterisk is the habit of saving money was very key. So I had to basically save up money to the point where I had an emergency reserve. And you want a 3 to 6 month emergency reserve. And then once you have that emergency reserve of 3 to 6 months, so you know that if you lost your job, if something happened to your car, if a health issue happened, if something happened to you or to your job or to your family, you have the liquidity to take care of that, right? So if let's say your expense is 5,000 bucks a month for yourself, a 3 month reserve will be $15,000. The more assets you own, the more wealth you build, the more liabilities you have, the bigger your reserve is going to be. So for me, I try to keep, because I own so much real estate, at least around $100,000 liquid so that if a roof breaks, if there's a plumbing issue, I have the money to cover that in that situation. And that could be through a line of credit, that could be through like a stock portfolio, or it just could be money sitting in a high yields savings account. So those are kind of the things I do. So this is when wealth really you start to build wealth. So like basically kind of the first phase is just get that 3 to 6 month emergency reserve, whatever that looks like. So once again, you want to save money to get that 3 to 6 month reserve. And once again, if it's 5,000 bucks a month is your expense, then minimum you're gonna need 15 to 30K. So if you're younger, you're single, you have less obligations, 3 months. If you have kids, you have a wife and family, 6 months, maybe 12 months, right? But where a lot of people fall into this trap is they saved about 3 to 6 months of emergency reserves and they just have all this excess money that built up over time because they know how to save. And that money's just sitting there not growing. And that's where I see a lot of like doctors, pharmacists, high income W-2s, that's where they fail. Like they're great at, making money. They're great at keeping expenses low. But then now their money's not really growing, it's not really compounding. And this is when the moment you have a 3 to 6 month reserve, you can start aggressively investing your money, right? So like as for me, for example, at one point, let's say I take home 10,000 bucks a month, my living expense all in was maybe let's say 3,000 bucks a month. I had $7,000 a month in savings and I had my emergency reserve of 3 months already built out. So at that point, I could take that $7,000 and I could invest that. So I can invest that into 401k. I can invest that to an IRA. I can invest that into whole life insurance. I can save that to go buy a property that I'm going to house hack. And that's how I kind of started. I would, take some of that money, still put money in my 401k, still put money in my IRA, still put money into my whole life insurance policy. And then whatever is left over, I would save towards buying a piece of real estate, right? And you can always adjust these numbers. Like you don't always have to max out your 401k if you're trying to save more aggressive for your real estate. You don't always have to max out your IRA if you're trying to buy real estate. Or if you're not buying real estate, you can more aggressively fund your 401k and IRA. So it's a constant thing, but the key is you have your emergency reserve, 3 to 6 months squared away. You're still making good money, and then you're trying to save money. So you have that margin that you can invest. And this is when wealth really grew for me exponentially, is when I was able to invest 7,000 bucks a month. I use that to save up for a down payment of 10%. And, once I saved up 80, 90K, I use that to go buy my first property, house hack, 10% down. And then this is what happens. So I buy a house 10% down, I house hack it. So whether that's a single family home where you live in the master, rent out the other rooms, or you're getting a fourplex ideally if your market allows for it. You live in one unit, rent out the other 3 units, and you continue doing the same thing. You want to save your money, but now you own an asset, right? So ideally in the house hack scenario, you're living there for free. So your expenses drop even further. And now you're able to save 8,000 bucks a month and repeat that process, right? You want to save for another $80,000 for 10% down. And then you just slowly do that. And now you own another fourplex. So now you own two fourplexes in this example. And your first fourplex over time It's having rent growth, hopefully, over time. There's principal pay down over time. The value of that fourplex is going up, hopefully. And that's now you're leveraged in, right? Because you put 10% down. And now you bought your second one, 10% down. And that now you have two assets where over time it'll start to appreciate. Over time, principal pay down. Over time, rents should go up. Um, so you have tax benefits, which give you more money today too. So now you let that compound and compound and compound, and that's when you start to build a large net worth. And for me, that was the turning point. The turning point was when I had a 3 to 6 month emergency reserve, and I can allocate most of my money that I made from my pharmacist job into investments, into 401k, into IRA, into whole life insurance, into buying real estate, right? And I continue to focus on increasing my W 2 income. So, how do I do that? You job hop, I moved into management, change hospitals, get additional degrees, certifications. Not easy, right? I want to keep my expenses as low as possible. It's hard, right? Your base expenses is living expense, but you can reduce that significantly if you're house hacking, if you live at home. Um, Other expenses, like how much do you spend going out? Like, can you limit that as much as possible? Because the more money you can, like the dollar I save today is a dollar that I can invest that can help me live a better life in the future. And don't get me wrong, like yes, I'm saving $8,000 a month, but I'm not depriving myself. I'm not eating like rice and beans. I'm not eating top ramen. I still do what I want to do, right? Like I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy going to movies. I enjoy hanging out with friends. I enjoy traveling. There's ways to do what you enjoy, but not go in credit card debt, right? There's a lot of little micro moves you can make. Like I can have just as much fun hanging out with my friends at their house, having drinks at home versus like going to a bar. Like for me, I just like enjoying my friends. You can travel. There's ways to travel fancy. There's ways to travel more cost effective, right? You can save on hotel. You could use points to cover your hotel. You can use points to cover your flights. You don't always, you can travel to Southeast Asia where it's cheaper. You could fly economy. You could fly inconvenient times, right? There's ways to save money to get what you want still, right? So that's like I said, when I built my wealth, like I was able to save money. I could buy real estate and let that real estate compound. And then once you own more real estate, I went from single family homes and I went into mobile home parks. I went to apartment complexes. And then, I lost money in my mobile home park, but I was able to go into like apartments and then make money there. And then I had excess money that I tried businesses that, a lot of them failed, but I had the savings to do it, right? Like I tried a drop shipping store through Amazon, lost money. I tried my opening my own pharmacy, I lost money. You try a bunch of stuff, and because I have excess money, I'm able to like try things, right? And maybe my dropshipping store did well. I would have made money. I didn't. Maybe my mobile park would have went well. Didn't. But I bought apartments that did well, right? So you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. But I had the money to spare, and it wouldn't like even if I lost $30,000 because I had my emergency reserve set aside. I didn't care. It was money that I could afford to lose, and it wouldn't make me homeless, right? So for me, that's just kind of the mindset that I have is keep your expenses as low as possible, increase your income, have margin, invest that margin into real estate, and do that for as long as you can. So I've been doing this same exact formula since 2013, right? So 2013, that's 12 years. I've been doing this for 12 years. And now by year 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's when things compound. My real estate went up over time. My stock market portfolio went up over time. My knowledge went up over time, and I was able to elevate from single family to multifamily, right? I was able to try different businesses and make money and lose money. But I learned, and I lost money that I could afford to lose, and it just became a tax write-off for me, right? So you're allowed to take these risks. And it's a great when you're young in your 20s, your early 30s, before you have kids with your family, you can take more risk, right? Like for me, I knew if I bought this property and I lost all my money, my worst case scenario is I move back home and live at home for free, right? Or I live with a friend on their sofa for free, or get an air mattress with the friend for free. So I'm not even homeless, and I can go try again. So that's why I took very calculated risk. And that's kind of the mindset I want you guys to entail. Like, become a saver up to that 3 to 6 month point. Once you have that 3 to 6 month emergency reserve, become an investor. You want your money to work for you, right? Like this is how people make money in their sleep, right? Like for me, regardless if I work or don't work, my assets are compounding over time, right? My stock portfolio, I get dividends income that gets reinvested. My stocks go up and down. My real estate goes up and down. My rental income goes up and down, right? So that's when it becomes powerful. And that's where I want you to get to. I want you to get to that point of being an investor, right? And even if you don't make that much money, even if you make like $50,000 in California, allocate some money to investments. Like just get that bone started, automate it, right? 5%, 10%, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just try it and it becomes addicting, right? And then fast forward 10, 15 years, you built up a large nest egg larger than you think you would. Like I never thought I would achieve, my $6-7 million net worth by this age. Um, you know, if you told me that 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe that. And I just took that simple formula, basically build that emergency reserve, learn to invest, right? Whatever you want to invest in, real estate, index funds, trying a business, all the above, like I did. So anyways, if you want to learn to build wealth through real estate, multifamily real estate, check out my link tree down below. From there, you can click on my link tree, see my link to my coaches, my coaching, my courses, my mentorship program. You can send me an email if you have any questions. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.